Should I put on sunglasses to match you?
No, no. I just, using my blue blockers.
Mhm.
Welcome, Lily. Round two.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah, you don't seem that
No,
excited.
I'm so excited to be here. And my favorite thing to do is to podcast.
That's not fair. You were actually the one who suggested that I originally do podcasting.
That is true. I did recommend you start a podcast, but not with the intention of being a regular guest.
Well, this is actually just your second one, and so this is the purpose. I thought I would do a quick check-in. So I've had a few since you and I first had the inaugural kickoff.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think so far?
I think you still haven't introduced me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Well, last time you said that at the very end.
Yeah.
And I had to edit it.
That is true.
So my plan is not to do much editing. So yeah, welcome Lily, my daughter. What are you, like 27, 28? How old are you now?
27. I live in San Francisco, similarly work in healthcare, more from a policy space, and share some of your interests in health, fitness, AI, maybe a lesser degree of intensity to the interests, but I'm always excited to hear about what you've been up to and the newest project, the newest research, the newest findings that you've been working on.
Yeah, well, we touch base once in a while on it, but as you know, once we start talking AI, I'm going to go off. Let's keep talking. So since one of your points before was that when we first did the first podcast, you said, Dad, first of all, you didn't introduce me until the end, but then you also said, you talked the whole time.
Well, some of your guests have been more talkative, some are more of listeners. But I think you're working into adjusting into your flow of talking just enough, asking some questions. I'm hoping that one day you'll have an all audio podcast that I can just listen to on Spotify and that I don't have to be on video for.
Yeah, well, so my goal with this one is to not have to do many edits. Edits were useful because I put it in a Substack, and I wanted to break them up in segments. But some comments, I think you made one in the past, and I heard one from Scott Miller a couple podcasts ago. One of his contacts had said, can I hear the whole session? And I really didn't do that because I kept breaking it up.
Yeah.
In part, and we might have to do that actually, but in part it was because the OBS software I use, it's open source, it would crash once in a while, and nothing's worse than doing like an hour and then it crashing.
Yeah, that's true.
But my goal is to not have to do much edits, just fully stream it.
And I think that's what a lot of podcasters do. They record a session and just put the audio out there. And then if there's something to edit out, they do. They splice in some advertisements and start monetizing their content.
You don't think they shuffle it, like take something from the middle and put it earlier or put it at the end?
The podcasts I listen to don't really seem to do that as much. They might cut things out, but it does seem like people just free flow talk for a couple hours and then just splice things out that aren't worth keeping in.
Yeah, long form, as this is called, has become pretty popular. I understand. Well, first of all, in the political arena, apparently that was a critical part of how the landscape's become. But I've heard that even recently our governor has started his own podcast. You hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that our governor is starting a podcast too. Maybe you can get him on the podcast. Maybe you can reach out to him and maybe he'll be down to discuss some ideas on AI.
Yeah, maybe.
Shoot for the stars in the guest outreach.
Yeah, I think that you never know. You blink an eye and he might one day be running for president. So
it's true.
It's cool to have some line of communication.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, right. Well,